this place here where we are also sitting right now, many of the people that are involved here, at least the ones that have been here for a longer time, I assume and partly know that they know each other from the dance floor.
Oh.
So
which dance floor? A specific one, or?
Like a lot of people engaged in the I would not say only, I would say the subculture of organizing music and art festivals, and it's techno music, but it's also bands. It's a lot of experimental things, to co-creating these spaces where you come together to dance and celebrate. A lot of this, what is happening here is rooted into this past. So people that, like, I have someone sharing here this co-working space with me that I know already from the dance floor in the little town where I grew up in southern Germany. We've been already raving together by then. Nice. And it's like, it's different than like, being part of a community that just like really emerged newly. So I would say that is one of the reasons Moos is what it is, and is such a magnet.
I think that's a reflection. This is a reflection of kind of how let's say not late, but like how new I am to coming here, because I've never heard of somebody talking about an origin of Moos that has to do with music. And I think it's clear that from your cohort or generation with Moos, it's kind of a different group of people. And so I'd love to hear like how, just maybe how you came to Moos, and because I think it's different from all of the other people that I've spoken to in the past.
Yeah, I had a calling some years ago to participate in, like it's now over 10 years ago, to participate in a shamanic ritual. Actually, also there's a lot of singing involved, and I started to also organize it. And my team partner in organizing this, Sven Huge Kutz, he actually not Kutz, he's Bear now, he married. So Sven Huge Bear, he was part of Holzmarkt for many years. So another cultural center platform here in Berlin, where a lot of things are happening around music. Also, next to many other things. Anyway, just like since we have this stream of music, so I met him organizing these retreats together, and he was interested also in what I'm doing as a facilitator, and also now, 10 years later, is also a facilitator. And he was working at that time already, because he had to do with people always, and was already supporting Moos in a way. And he was already had a mediation training. Anyway, he was working with Moos, with the founding team of Moos.
But this is 10 years ago?
5 years? Something like that, 8 years then. Wow. I met him maybe like 10 years ago, and then 8 years ago, something like that, 7 years ago, he invited me to, or he suggested me to the founders of Moos, the founding team, to run a Dragon Dreaming workshop. So a long story to explain how I ended up the first time getting in contact with Moos. At that time, the building was just bought a couple of years ago, and it was still rented to people who were here previously. So you would say Gewerbe in German, so offices and retailers, and it was like where we are now. Was a lager, was a storage. So just very few people who are still here, partly have been here already. And we were running this Dragon Dreaming workshop together to work on the vision and the structure of Moos. And this was my first experience, and I feel so honored with doing this Dragon Dreaming work and on developing a vision for a project, to really feel a project and feel the people in the project. And I really got excited by the vision and by the people, and wanted to be part of this. I really had a yes, this is cool, I want to be part of this, and this continues to develop. And I came back some 1-2 years later, moving in with my old co-working space that had to move out from another part in Kreuzberg. And we were like moving into the first level here, one level above us. Yeah. And I was like, with this co-working space, I was here. But that co-working space also, that was planned already from the beginning, it moved on and I stayed here. And stayed here means I've been renting a desk. I'm sharing a desk with Hugo. That's also why I mentioned him. Yeah. We're still working closely together, so I'm sharing this space here with him and our project Manuela Way. And I stayed curious what is happening in Holmos. How is Holmos developing? I mean, I already played a little role in this with the Dragon Dreaming workshop, and I was interested how to support that. And then the collaboration incubator was happening, the last one of the 6 series. And out of this incubator, a group, really like a strong group formed that kind of stuck together. And at the same time, there was a part in Moos was being renovated and now ready to move in, the roof, the Dachgeschoss. That was the idea was to execute another concept there, but it was Corona, and it just needed a way to fill the space within the regulations that existed. And I just knew about this group, was interested maybe to move together from the collaboration incubator, and I made a connection. And then that group with 1-2 more people who have been not part of the collaboration incubator moved in.
So you brought them to the rooftop.
I made the link.
Create the bridge that
So and then I thought, okay, they do WGs and then they have some networking events or so, but like, wow, so much happened there. Yeah. And I really saw, okay, this is really about bringing people together who do so interesting stuff, and let them experiment, even doing more interesting stuff together, or developing actually their formats, developing their ideas, and supporting each other and celebrating community and all of this, what I also had intended with the collaboration incubator. So I thought, okay, this is actually the continuation of the collaboration incubator. So I got really interested when I also knew there will be a new building be finished soon that is also meant to be for project living. And I saw the potential to launch a temporary collaboration incubator project in the Neubau. And I saw what Jacob was all building with Eugenio and Henny and Oliver and Otto and the people. These were the people there from the beginning. And Benji was with me, that you also interviewed. Who was involved in even more collaboration incubators. So I was just like fascinated in bringing this idea together with the idea of developing a residency model there, and many other ideas that we have. And we did at the beginning of 2021, like a big Dragon Dreaming project with also like using a lot of onboarding features and working with interviews and having finally this 3-day event also here at Moos. and that was kind of the kick-off to develop that together as a community. And then we faced a lot of complexity. And this group is not now together anymore on this project in Moos, only a part of this group. But I was so happy to celebrate my birthday a couple of days ago with the social presencing theater session. So this embodied improvised movement practice session, and a lot of the people that I met there in this time also, that was over like almost a year then that I was engaged, are still really close friends. So a lot of sustainable relationships emerged out of this endeavor, I can say. But at the moment, I'm not involved in the residency project so much, and I'm just occasionally supporting the I would say, if it maybe leadership team, if you want so, occasionally with big questions around direction. And at the moment, I'm just very happy to be working from here.
Yeah, I love this story. It really feels like a kind of Big Bang story. Like I've heard some variations of this before, but never in this way. Something that occurred to me while you were talking is you mentioned this collaboration incubator, and then there were these like group of like 6 or 7 people or whatever, and they're stuck together, and they ended up coming here. And you used this phrase like in a way of trying to conceive of how they could do things, and you said like interesting stuff, right, as a way to sort of frame it. And I feel like this is a thing where people try to talk about what's Moos, like what is it about, what are people doing, and what's actually holding it together, because there's not really a definition and everybody has a different way. And I feel like in these two words there's some idea of like what this concept is supposed to be, which you just use the word interesting stuff, but like what is the idea there? And maybe it's not your idea, but somebody had this feeling or something about what's supposed to hold it together, right? Or maybe define it. And do you have some idea about what that was or is or could be?
I mean, for me, I think it's important to differentiate between what is happening in the project living parts of Moos, which is the roof and the Neubau. So
the
these
residency.
The residency, or certain parts of Moos that are meant for project living. And then like there are different frameworks. For example, at the moment, a residency is used, and it probably will also stay a residency. So this is a part of Moos. But then there is also like people who have their offices here, who work from here. It's permanent. They produce their art from here. They are doing activism from here. So like Sea-Watch or like Quando or Querfeld, or like so many people who are doing interesting stuff here at Moos, who are settled here permanently. I wish I could mention all of them, because so great stuff is happening. And the more temporary people that a lot of them you have interviewed, that have been part or are part of the residency program. And your question was what's the intention or the purpose of all of this?
Yeah,
or?
I mean, I'm sort of making a reference to something that has come up just in personal conversations, or like different people have tried to explain to other people like what's Moos. And it's always hard to do it because there isn't like a clear definition that's agreed upon by everybody. And there's, as you're mentioning, there's like this rooftop, and then there's this Neubau, and then there's this workspace, co-working space, and then there's this urban village with businesses and stuff going on. Like, so all these different facets. And so it's about this question of like, what is Moos? And I felt that in the two words that you described of interesting stuff, in this like Big Bang moment, I felt like there's some, like, why did those people fit well together? Why did they want to try and experiment with this? And I feel like it's related to that question. It's just a hunch, but I don't know. Does that make sense?
I understand there is an intention that Moos has, that is carried by the vision keepers, by the founders, but also other people that are engaged here, to be something like a platform, a container, a space for hosting practices that make a difference in the world. And if it's it has a lot to do, I would say, with society. Even though there are a lot of projects also that are addressing environmental issues, like Querfeld, who is a zero waste food project, or the Rismo Lab, who is working with mushrooms. It's really more about, I would say, political change in a way. And to give a ground where we can develop our projects and make a change outside, but also bring people from outside. And in the initial vision that has been dreamt, I don't know, 8-7 years ago at this Strength Dreaming workshop, there is one thing that I remember so vividly. Someone said, Moos is a place, when you enter it, the time goes different. And yeah, like just by being here, something is happening. Like you're having an experience of how things can be different. And you getting input and inspiration, and yeah, it's just like leaving with new connection, with new ideas, or having had an opportunity to realize something for yourself. And I like this idea that it's not like, even though it's meant to be in a way political, it's not meant to be a place for everyone with the same opinion or with the same culture. Even though there is somehow a Moos culture, I would say, the culture of the residency project is different than the culture of the people that are, I would say, gathering at the Späti, at the Taverne, regularly, who are there really always, is another group. And then there are people that are like just really much more like with their projects, and not so much engaging and connecting with the social things happening here, but they're doing really important, meaningful work in the outside. And then there are the people that are more like to sit on the floor and meditate, and then there are people that are more like to listen to loud techno and and drink, and they are coexisting here in this place. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, beautifully said. I also haven't heard this way of saying, so I appreciate that you shared. Where can people find out more about you?
My media presence is not perfect, but you can just Google Manuela Bosch, and you find me on the web and
B-O-S-C-H.
B-O-S-C-H. You find me on the web, and you find me on social media. Yeah.
Cool. Great to chat with you, Manu, and thanks for being here.
Thank you, Rosano.